Welcome to the LinkedIn Social Selling Playbook for Sales Managers, Part 2, Understanding LinkedIn's Social Selling Index and how it can help you. So what is the Social Selling Index? Well, your Social Selling Index measures how effective you are at establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. You can find your Social Selling Index measure by going to linkedin.com/sales/SSI. There are 4 pillars on the LinkedIn Social Selling Index, and they include establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insight, and building relationships. And each one of these segments is out of 25, which will give you a number out of 100, which will also give you a percentage. The first pillar of LinkedIn's Social Selling Index is creating a professional brand, which is basically completing your profile with the customer in mind. So here's some tips on creating a profile with your customer in mind. Make sure that you have your team build out their LinkedIn profiles 100%. Make sure that your team members are getting recommendations, which are social proof to show that they know what they're doing and that they help their clients out. Add a summary that speaks to what you do for your clients. Add rich media. LinkedIn gives you the ability to add videos, white papers, documents, podcasts, a bunch of different things in your profile, in your summary, and also in your different job segments that you have on your profile. There's more detail on this coming in an upcoming event or segment, so I'll show that to you in a little bit here. So pillar 2 of the LinkedIn Social Selling Index is the ability to find the right people, which means that you're identifying better prospects in less time using effective search and research tools. And in this case, what you should be looking at all the time when you're doing searches on LinkedIn is using the advanced search functionality, which brings up this box that you see down below. So here's some tips on finding the right people. First of all, get your sales team to use LinkedIn's advanced search to find the right prospects. Secondly, have your team engage with their first level connections to get referrals into second level connections. Get your team to engage with their connections to find the right decision makers at the different organizations. So what I mean here is that if you're trying to get into a company, make sure that you're looking at your different reps and seeing who may have connections in those companies that they could leverage to make sure either they get into that account or that your other sales reps can get into that account or that organization. Salespeople that view at least 10 people at each account were 69% more likely to exceed quota. That's just food for thought. So the next 3 need visuals to show you the power of leveraging the search on LinkedIn. So in this case, we're going to leverage a LinkedIn premium account to get up to 8 additional advanced search features on LinkedIn. So when you have a free account, what you get are some pretty basic stuff, which includes your keywords that you want to put in, first name, last name, a title, a company, a school, and a location. You can also add relationships. You can also include different industries, past companies, and profile language and nonprofit interests. That's a lot of information, but unfortunately, the results that come back are not always the best that you can get. Now, if you get a premium account, you can get up to 4 to 8 additional search functionalities. And these are the ones that you see on the right-hand side here. A special note is the company size. So if you're looking at companies that are a specific size, then Having this premium filter right there is well worth it because it breaks it out into different stratas so that your results come back way more laser focused. Second thing you can do is start connecting with second and third and group level people who have viewed your profile. And how you do this is you click the profile at the top of the main page on LinkedIn and then click who's viewed your profile. And in this case, what you're going to do is you will see some first level connections that are in there, but you're going to see second level and third level connections. They've come and found you or your reps for some reason. So this is an excellent opportunity to actually connect with these people and grow your network and build a much more robust network. Last but not least is looking at using the Boolean advanced search functionality to get more pinpoint prospects. And the Boolean advanced search functions include quotation marks, brackets, uppercase and, uppercase or, and uppercase not. And for example, when I looked up Vice President Sales in the location of Calgary, what came back, and then when I compare it to Vice Presidents or VP Sales in Calgary, which is using the Boolean search with the quotations around Vice President, which puts that word together, or, and then VP, and or is saying I want to look at Vice President or VP and then Sales, and also in Calgary. What comes up is, in the first example, I get 267 results that come back. In the second example, I get 4,636 results that come back. That's 17 times more results just by adding in 2 or 3 additional things into the search functionality. Or you look at it as that's also increased 4,369 more prospects that I could be going after. Pillar 3 of LinkedIn's social selling index is engaging with insight, which means you discover and share conversation-worthy updates to create and grow relationships. And on the left-hand side, that's a post that I created in LinkedIn. And then on the right-hand side is I shared that post with my network. So here's some tips for engaging. First of all, 92% of all B2B buyers engage with sales professionals if they are known in their industry. So what I always talk about is create content that's compelling and make sure you share that out. That's how you start to become known as an industry leader, especially on LinkedIn. Sales reps who exceed quota with their prospects, engage with their prospects 39% more than other sales reps who don't. What you need to do is get your reps finding content that's worth sharing and putting it in front of the right people. 64% of B2B buyers appreciate hearing from a salesperson who provides knowledge and insight about their business. So make sure that you're getting your sales reps and your sales team to send valuable content to their connections on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you post once a month on LinkedIn, believe it or not, 20% of your network is going to see that post. If you post 20 times or share content 20 times, 60% of your network will see your posts. So in that case, what happens is you're being seen and you're being looked at as someone who is sharing relevant information and also becoming an industry leader. So here's 3 great places to find content or have your team find content. The first one I look at is StumbleUpon, and you can find that at stumbleupon.com. The second one is to go into Google Alerts and set up specific alerts in Google. And what they'll do is Google will go out and find fresh content and send it to you on a consistent basis. So you can set it up to be as it gets found or on a daily basis. And you can take that information and share it with your connections on LinkedIn or have your team share it with their connections on LinkedIn. And last but not least is LinkedIn's Pulse section, which is an amalgamation of a lot of information that is on LinkedIn, where you can find some great content to share. So I'm going to give you an example of using StumbleUpon and how you can do this. So if you go to stumbleupon.com, what you're going to do is sign up for an account. When you sign up for an account, they're going to ask you for what your interests are, and they have a plethora of different interests that you can actually put into your interests. So when you put them in there, you can also click on any one of those. And in this case, I'm using the self-improvement category. And then what you do is hit Stumble. What happens then is user-created or content that is shared from users on StumbleUpon starts to appear. And if you find something that's valuable, you can start sharing this out with your network. So what you can do is you'll find a post. In a lot of cases, they'll have this social share widget in there, like this one that you see down that left-hand side there. And in this case, I see that there's an ability to share it on LinkedIn. When I click that, the box on the right shows up, and it shows the 20 definitions of success you should never ignore. And in this case, I'm taking that article and I can share this out as an update in my stream to my connections on LinkedIn. Another thing I have the ability to do is to post it into groups. And last but not least is I can send it directly to different individuals on LinkedIn. And if I click this selection, then what happens is I can start typing names in and just click those names and put them in and share that content. And last but not least, you hit share. So insight can be in the many different forms. In fact, it can be white papers that your company's created. And in fact, you can actually have white papers that other companies have created that you can share out. I would highly recommend you don't necessarily do that if it's a competing company, but if it's something that's valuable that you can share with your connections, then highly recommend that you do that as long as it's not going to take away from any potential sales opportunities for you. Next, you can take a look at blog posts that you find and share those out. You can find videos on YouTube and other places to share with your connections. You can find special reports. Infographics are a great way to share information with your potential clients. Any webinars that you have coming up and podcasts, and there's so many different other ways that you can share information with individuals. Pillar 4 of the Social Selling Index from LinkedIn is building stronger relationships, which allows you to strengthen your network by connecting and establishing trust with decision makers. Some of the tips on this include having your reps work on building better relationships with their first level connections so that they can leverage introductions into second level connections. This will absolutely explode the amount of sales prospects that you can be going after on LinkedIn. And we'll get into that in a little bit in a couple other courses further on. The other thing too is start to build better relationships one LinkedIn connection at a time. A lot of the times what I do when I'm out searching for individuals that I want to be connecting with, I'm going to see people that keep coming up time and time again that are connected to these people. And I want to make sure that I'm building a stronger relationship with them so that I can leverage these people into introductions into different second level connections that I have. The other thing you can do is look at leveraging referrals from your first level connections, obviously, into your second level connections. Why you want to do this is that 73% of B2B buyers prefer sales professionals who have been referred by someone they know. 87% of B2B buyers would have a favorable impression of somebody who has been introduced to them through their professional network. And last but not least, you increase your likelihood of getting a meeting by up to 400% with a referral. All of this information comes from different white papers that LinkedIn has. So I've got 2 more tips that I'd like to talk to you about. The first tip is, how does your sales team rank? And what you want to do is when you go to LinkedIn's Social Selling Index, which you find at linkedin.com/sales/SSI, along the top, you're going to see a couple of different options. And you're going to see industry SSI rank and network SSI rank. Really, what you want to do is you want to take a look at how your reps are ranking in the industry. And in this case, I rank in the top 1% of sales professionals in the marketing and advertising industry when ranked against multiple of my peers. If you've got a team that has a number that's greater than 50%, or lower than 50%, obviously, or if they're 51, 60%, whatever it is, then you need to start working with them to start growing that and making it better. So this is a starting ground for you to take a look at how your team ranks. Then what you want to do is down at the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see how your team stacks up against different individuals in the industry that you're competing against. And each one of these colored segments here represents one of the pillars on the LinkedIn Social Selling Index. And when you hover your mouse over each one of those, it's going to show you the rankings of where different sales professionals in the industry are average rank. So in the case where I look at this is that sales professionals in the marketing and advertising industry, they have an average social selling index ranking of 20. My average ranking is anywhere between kind of 87 and 89 on different days of the week. So my ranking itself is 4 times greater. Same thing, if you can take your team and start growing their social selling index ranking, then what happens is, they're going to be the people that are esteemed industry leaders. And it doesn't take a lot of work to actually do this. I have a client who I showed this to, and they basically doubled their social selling index ranking from 25 to 50 within a day just by doing 2 or 3 minor fixes to their profile. So if you'd like to find out more, reach out to me, Chris Hamilton, at chris@salestipaday.com. You can also reach me on my phone at 403-630-1243. Or if you'd like, connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to ca.linkedin.com/in/Chris Hamilton CA.